Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Hella Schwartz-Grossman, Marketing Manager at Worldox, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's special session where we'll introduce you to our new Microsoft Teams integration for Worldox. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. The webinar will be recorded and the link will be emailed to you afterwards. Everyone is muted right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar questions pane, and we'll address questions at the end of the webinar. I'm excited to announce that our speaker today is Ray Zwiefelhofer, President at Worldox. Thank you in advance for the attention you'll be giving this webinar, and Ray, it's your turn.
Great. Okay. You guys, Rebecca and Hal will let me know if my connection cuts or anything. But hey, thank you all for joining. It's been an interesting year. We certainly miss getting out and seeing you folks, as I'm sure you guys all miss traveling and getting out as much as we normally do during a normal year. But everything's well at World Software. We quickly went remote, as you folks most likely did. The company's doing good, and we've got a lot of exciting things coming out. We in March, early April, seen how things were, and it continued to, of course, not get any better. We really moved a lot of our plans around, and we've reassigned resources to really focus on things that are really important in a lockdown state and important for you folks today. Things that we can deliver for free, that we can add on to Worldox and get more productivity out of it. And one of them today I'll show you is our Microsoft Teams integration, which I'm very excited about. We have also, some know maybe, we are of course redeveloping Worldox. We will have another webinar on that. Stay tuned in the coming days, but that's completely being redesigned to Worldox 15. And in the meantime, we've really focused our resources on things like this Teams integration. We're making continual updates with our Web3 product, both on a redesigned backend server and front-end pages. In fact, we have a release that will be 3.2 will be coming out probably the first of the year, which will be a pretty significant jump, even over 3.1 for those who have 3.1 now. We're putting some resources into things like Office add-in integrations. So I truly believe this time period and maybe into next year, as I tell my team members, we certainly want to sell Worldox and to accounts, but we really should be nurturing and educating our customers, and we need to, I guess, put our heads down and really get through this year until things open back up again. So I will do a quick walkthrough. I guess I wanted to do this. I've been a big supporter of Teams since the early days, worked with clients who are using it, and I just thought as a free tool, it's just a great way to share and collaborate with your customers. And so many changes. A few years ago, when we started working on it, for example, security wasn't quite there. And even some of the video conferencing, as you notice, we're using GoToWebinar today. If you have hundreds of people, it's not necessarily as smooth as you like, and sometimes you have login problems. They're working on it, but it's really good for sharing and collaboration using the SharePoint backend for the file store. So just kind of going to go over, won't be a long presentation because the integration points are fairly straightforward. Oh, and this is how I start my day. During these lockdown periods, thank goodness I don't have kids at home that I'm struggling to find a room to work like I hear going out there. But get through this kid period for those of you who have young kids, because the grandkids, that's really where it's at. Puts a smile on your face every day. So I'm going to first, just for the benefit of those who don't have Teams, don't use Teams a lot, I hear a lot of that too. I'm going to go over some basics of how Teams works, not training on Teams by any means. So those of you who are Teams experts, go get a cup of coffee or whatnot and come back soon. So Teams allows you as a framework that allows you to share and collaborate. So it has a threaded discussion that you can invite clients and or have internal members of your firm on, and then allows you to share files and collaborate around files for that particular team. And how we use it internally, we're not a law firm, so we'll have our particular sites. I have one for the company, and this is my teams. My support team, for example, and marketing team may have their private teams that I don't have access to or don't look at every day. But Teams allows you to have different channels. So I have a World Software site, for example, for a company, and then various things that channels I want to segment items there. Then, of course, you have posts that you can do, and you can have replies around the post and likes, and it's really a very elegant threaded discussion for both internally and really more recently now external customers have access to that there. So a couple things, as you go through, you can set up multiple teams. The file share system, I'll go down to a VAR release portal. This is a portal that we set up with our resellers that are testing various products. So they get the beta products and early release products, and then they have a threaded discussion where the development team can chat with them around that, and they can pull recent updates to the file down for that there. So if we go to the Teams beta, you'll see the discussion around for the various resellers, back development for more instantaneous response on issues they're having and maybe thoughts for improvement. Secondly, kind of important in this is the file section, which uses SharePoint as a back end, but very elegantly puts it where you want it to go without a lot of navigation, which is important. Allows you to go through and post and edit and do files. I'll point out something particularly. If you're interested in this product, after you see, kind of what it does and you're interested in your firm, you may want to learn more about it. I would request, I'm not sure if this is on the knowledge base yet, but we certainly can post it somewhere where you guys can have access to. That's the Teams integration guide. It's fairly lengthy, and it goes into pretty much every aspect of it. Now, this is not just the usage of Teams. That's fairly simple, sending a file, creating a channel. I'll show you that in a moment, but also how to set up it within your organization. Microsoft Azure and the underlying structure can be quite complex. If you don't have an IT person at your firm, you're a smaller firm, which is inherently a lot of our customers, you'll want a consultant to probably help you with setting up the Azure integration and making sure Teams has the right access rights. So it covers a lot of that in quite a bit of detail, so you know what you need to do. And then, of course, it gets into the details of how it works as a training guide and manual. So it's very, very robust. And I just showed you a document, by the way, within Teams, so it's very easy. For collaboration for customers, just a note, as you're using this product and you will want to share the DocX type products, versions from Microsoft, the older version format works here for sharing and viewing and etc. But doesn't allow co-editing. If you want co-editing with your customers, real-time editing, you'll want to make sure it's a current version of the DocX type of format. Cool
hey,
things
Ray,
you can do when you're in yeah.
This is Rebecca. You're breaking up just a little bit, so you might want to forgo the video.
Oh, okay. Not a problem. Sorry about that, guys.
I just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
Okay, there we go. How's that? Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, fantastic. So within your Teams channel, again, this is a channel, sample channel for a release of new products to our resellers, and allows collaboration while we're building and perfecting the product. You can do things pretty interesting, like and picture this in your world working with clients, posting certain documents. You may have a schedule, you may have a timeline document. So you can hit the plus button and tag an Excel spreadsheet or let's say a PDF file and basically pin that document to the top of your channel. So now whenever you go in here, you automatically will have the important documents up top as a menu. So that's a cool things you can do. And there's so many add-ins, I won't get into them all because that's a Teams training in itself. So as we were looking at building this, one of the things and problems and issues you might already start seeing is allowing everybody at your organization to randomly create their teams in whatever naming scheme they want can get quite complex and unwieldy. So one of the first firms I started discussing this with, they allowed people to create their own teams as needed for a matter. And the question was brought up, well, how many matters do you get a month? And okay, we get 100 a month. Okay, that's 1,200 a year. And it can get quite out of hand if there's no organizational structure. So fast forward, we decided that Worldox has a great matter structure, which is the client matter name. It's very consistent. It usually comes from your time and billing system or your practice management system. So we would use that to have the structure. So I'll show you the actual integration in a moment, but the end result is Worldox creates a nice, very findable structure within Teams that is your client matter name and number, which allows you to sort, organize, filter, search, etc. To find the particular matter you may be working on. You can also do things like hide the matters when you're done with them, so it moves them down out of sight, so you can keep the most relevant ones in front of you, which is really nice. Now I'm going to run a little video here. I was on vacation recently out of country, and I had to prepare for this, and I thought, shoot, I'm going to see how the Teams integration works here through international internet. And actually, I was relatively surprised in how painless it was. So I recorded a demo so I can talk to some of these items here. So you have Worldox up here. I'll show you first how to get into and send a document. When you right-click, there'll be new menu items to share to Teams via checkout or simply share to Teams itself. When you click on the checkout, it pre-fills your client matter that you're in. Right now, we're on Fifth Avenue Real Estate. It allows you to select a sub-channel or say a subfolder of that team and or create a new one. Once that's sent to the team, it also prompts you if you want to send a message. If you send a message, your whole team, your customers that are on that team or internal team members will get this message. For example, you've uploaded a new file or here are the changes. It makes a very elegant way to post new updates to there. Now here, it will go up to the Teams interface. I clicked out of it. My apologies, it will take you directly to that team, but a second way you can get to it is in your file list. Simply click on the Sent to Teams hyperlink. It will take you directly to that document and that team location. Again, Microsoft wants to load the web client, so if you don't want that, click on Always Allow Teams app to open. I would strongly recommend for your attorneys and such you download the Teams app. Then you have the file, my comment I made, and allows the collaboration to start around that. Of course, it will always be in the files section of Teams. So from the cabinetry, you can also do things. I'll check it back in here now. Pretend I made edits to that document. You can now import as a version, or you simply can clear the flag and check back in and retain the original document. Depends on what you want. You can also add and remove these items if you only want versions to be moved back in. So now let's check back in as version 2, and you can go about your work. Keep in mind, all of this detail is also logged in our audit trail, so you can see who checked out what to what matter, when and where, so you have that nice little audit trail history going through that there. From the cabinet tree, you also can instantiate a team, create a team from a particular matter, right click, say create team. But also, if you're in a matter that doesn't have a team, right click and go ahead and send that file or check out that file to a particular team. If the team exists, it will tell you. It won't let you create another one, of course. There's none in this account that has been created, so it'll create the team and the naming structure I showed you on the fly, as well as proceed to check that file out. Of course, again, you can make comments on the file after you upload, like I showed you before. Very nice metadata, so you know what's checked out. You can set up in favorites. If you don't know how, I'm sure tech support can help, but you can also set up your favorites to show all checked out files, which is a really nice way globally to see your checked out files. Navigating again within this structure is made pretty easy by Microsoft. We decided just to use their built-in filtering, so you could type matter name or number or client and very quickly come to this particular location where you want to go. If your files, it takes a second or two, sometimes you need a refresh, so if they're not immediately in your team system after you upload, on the far right, there's a refresh button, which will refresh those files and pull them up pretty fast there for you. They're up in Microsoft Cloud, but they're just not showing in the interface there. Now, you can have clients upload files also, so I'll show you that in a second here. You could have your customers upload contracts or maybe draft wills that they want modified, and put them in particular matters here. Interface is pretty advanced in allowing team members. We chose not to drive the membership and the security through Worldox. We decided it's best if you're trained on how to do it through Teams. So as Microsoft continually changes and improves their product, you get the benefits of what's coming out of Microsoft as far as security and membership around that particular team. Filter is a nice tool that allows you to simply, instead of searching, allows you to simply filter the list by any particular client or matter you may be looking for in the structure. You can see how this can be very useful within your firm, even if you had hundreds or even thousands of teams, come up fairly quick. This has no membership in this team yet. I just created it. So you can start with typing either firm memberships or outside, add them to here. I would suggest, and we went back and forth with a few firms about this, but depending on your size of firm, you may want to set someone responsible for creating a new team and adding appropriate matters. Maybe part of client intake, or maybe create a form that when a team is created, you have a set amount of people who has rights to that team, both internally and externally. So another thing is when you're in a Worldox, you can, quite a few right-click commands. We chose to put the add new file to the top of the menu though. I'm going to import this real quick over the top here though. Check it back in. I don't like checked out documents. Move that back up. At the top of the menu, you'll see the new file. So when you click that, to do this is what you're familiar with, which is those file or files. Just prompt up the profile card that you're so used to, allow you to select the client, the matter. Most of you probably only have author. You probably don't even have typist. That was back in the word processing days. Some firms have it. Set your category or security around that, and then simply upload that document. Now, you then, of course, once it's uploaded in Worldox, you can go find the document via modified date or name or however you like. I'll show you in a minute maybe an easier way to do that using categories. So that's the general nutshell of how it works here. Let me get out of this here. So one of the things, if you haven't used categories, it's very powerful. You can have, a lot of different categories per document and tag them any way you want. Some firms are very heavily into the use, and of course I run into firms, smaller firms that maybe didn't get trained on them and don't know how to use them, but allows you to tag any of the categories. You can filter by categories, you can sort by categories, you can search by a category. But in this case here, for this example here, when I upload that document, if you have your own tag, like from client or something simple like that, you then can very easily take this matter that you're in, maybe even use the tile view, which is very popular, and break your documents out into organizational units. And this would be example, all clients files from the clients that are uploaded. So it makes it fairly easy to do that. And each firm has their own. You may want a doc type, and I see doc types used quite often in a firm for these type of files. So that's kind of up to you. That's I guess a different way to do it. Resellers we've been working with have been using this for a while, and you all probably have a reseller I would hope that you're working with, and they have a lot of detail into how best to set this up and different ideas based upon how you're doing. But again, it's not a lot else to show. I wish I had a longer presentation, but then again, in value of your time, we'll keep it simple. Once it's installed, right click, do your checkout, and of course, my password expired, so you got to make sure your password is good. That shouldn't pop up once you're logged in. It should stay for your session. Team, upload. Yeah. So it doesn't see my session. My password, if you guys believe it, it would just literally expire today for my corporate account, and I haven't set it up in all of my items, so it's taken a while to sense it. Usually that is pretty instantaneous. Track, but I love to jump in and just show the product. Things to watch out for: the person who sets up the team will be the owner of the team, so he or she will have to grant rights to other people within the consistency. Even though we try to make it as consistent as possible, you want that to be consistent there. I'm waiting for that there. So Worldox, same thing. You can control and set, again, create the team, message of a particular matter right from the menu here. Check out the team, check out his version, and control that. It's a little scary to me to have a client upload a file and then not, and then overwrite the one you have in the system. So, my preference, as I told my dev team, was to always save it as, check it back in as a version or import it as a version. But you certainly can choose that any way you like there. So that really concludes what I have, and I guess we'll leave it open for questions. Sorry, it was a pretty quick demo. If any of you would like more detail on this or a demo for your partners at the firm, we would love to set up a webinar and maybe show some of your partners how it works and the detail around it. In addition, you can set this up for as few as people as you want. So you can set this up for 1 or 2 people and have it very, very simple in approach while you're scaling the system and getting used to it. And there's a few snafus that I found while I'm testing it. For example, the checkout, you notice there's a checkout, a pop-up window. In working with web-based apps, unlike what you're used to with Worldox, we pretty much set the focus of the app, between Word and Excel and Worldox. We're pretty good about keeping the error dialogues on top and stuff. And sometimes in talking to the web app, you just have to train your attorneys, or maybe an error OK window. I've noticed that through the product. Maybe there are ways we can fix that down the road, but just some little things like that to check out. And again, consistency in how you set up security and access to those particular groups. You'll find at the end of the day, it's, I don't know, I haven't seen a much better way to share and collaborate around a particular document than this here. A lot of sharing systems on the market, but included in your subscription, which most of you are getting nowadays, is a pretty good sell. So from there, that is my 20-minute overview, guys. I'll open for questions if there are any. Rebecca and Hella, if you can.
So we've actually had quite a few questions, and some of them I've been answering as we've gone along. But some of them I think the whole group would want to know, even if I've answered privately. So a couple of people have asked whether if you check out a file to Teams, does that mean nobody can edit it in Worldox? And the answer to that is correct. If you check it out to the team, then everybody in Worldox who finds that document will see that it's checked out, and they will not be able to edit that document. Now, if you just send the document to the team without checking it out, then people can still edit it. So you have the choice. And let me see what other questions that we've gotten. So a couple of people have also asked if this is something they have to purchase. And the answer to that is no. As long as you have an Office 365 subscription and you are a Worldox maintenance customer, then you can have this integration. And we are currently in an early release of it. So if you're interested in installing this, you can email sales@worldox.com and we can send you some more information about that.
Yeah, and I think too, Rebecca, good point. I think probably what I'll have the dev and ops team do is set up a pre-release team. Now, guys, we've been using this internally for quite some time. Our VARs have had it, resellers have had it for quite some time, but there's always nuances in the field. And I've even noticed one, for example, I'm a member of multiple organizations. At one time, I worked with Donna Payne at Payne Group. So we collaborated and she invited me to her network. So you have to ensure that your primary teams is at the right one, or else obviously hard to create matters that you don't have access to. So there's no nuances, but I would say like any other product, it's a training one. Something I meant to show too, but didn't. You may have a particular client you're working with, and you'll go into members and manage team, and you'll have the group perhaps at the firm that you're working with. But you may have a colleague here, which is internal, and you may want to discuss private things with them. So you can set up, when you add a channel, a subfolder, call it, of the main matter team, you can create a secure one, which this allows you to have a secure discussion with that particular group and colleague. And when you go down your channel, you'll see exactly who or who does not have particular rights to that. It starts with you, and then you can go from there.
So Ray, that's actually a really good point that you make, and this leads right into another question that somebody asked. Somebody asked whether each matter could be a channel, and one of the reasons that we did not necessarily go that way is because if you have a matter that you want to share documents with people outside of your company, then you'd need to have one channel to use for the sharing with the people outside, but then you might also want to have another channel to have those internal conversations. So for that reason, we went with having each matter be its own separate team.
Yeah, and I think, this has been debated, and we could have done it, I guess, either way. But matter centricity, the matter unit is normally what a law firm works around, and allowing sub-channels can have a lot of various conversations going around within that matter, especially if it's a large one. So this is the way we broke it up. We certainly, as you test the product and get feedback, we've had a few firms we've talked about this and working with, but not our whole 6,000 firm set, right? So as you guys get using it, we would love to have additional feedback. I would say, this was fairly with our new development team that's focused on 365 type products, which I'll say, a few years ago we didn't have, right? So this is another focused effort for us. We're going to continue to make these products better. As I mentioned, I'm really excited about the new Office add-in model. We created one a ways back, but just things weren't at the right stage, even in Microsoft level, to efficiently use them. But the first effort there I have them focused on is an Outlook add-in, and I would love to have some of your guys' comments. And if you were in Outlook and you had a Worldox add-in pane, what would you want to do? What would you want to see in that pane? Probably arguably when you click on our new drop folders or target folders in Outlook, you probably want it to show your documents, and you probably would want your favorites there, so it comes up with your favorite documents. So we can get crazy with that, but I would love to, if you're interested in an Outlook centric version, it's really a add-in version of our new Web3 product. I'd love to have, please email us, and I'm Ray at worldox.com. You guys can always get a hold of me, obviously, or any of my team members. Love to have more collaboration along these lines. Fairly simple to build these products. Getting them right, is probably, I would say our QA time on testing with the resellers was probably as long as the development cycle, which is kind of unusual because the APIs are pretty slick and work really well. But it takes a while to get right. And then, of course, we want to move them to the next level. So if you guys have other suggestions and things you would love to see, the ultimate world, not that Worldox you don't want to go to it, and it certainly has its power, but it'd be really cool for me anyway, more of a light user, I guess, to be in Outlook and see my relevant documents right in front of me there, vis-a-vis the add-in and web interface. So a lot of cool things coming down the pike. This is no charge. I think Microsoft, their Teams usage has expanded over 1,000% since the pandemic hit, of course. So get more widespread. There's now a free version that your customers can have, so that they can log in and set up an account, and they don't have to have the full 365 subscription. So a lot of advantages there. So good. Well, I won't keep you guys much longer. Any other questions, Rebecca, on the list?
There are a few questions that I think we're going to need to check on, so rest assured we will get back to everybody that has a question after the fact if there's anything that we haven't answered yet. And just remember that if you are a customer that's current on your maintenance, then you do get this included with your software.
Yeah, good point. Yep. Let's during these times here, let's educate and provide value. So thank you all for joining. It was a pleasure. Stay tuned for a webinar, which we haven't set yet, but I want to go over kind of the path of our new Web3 product. where it's at today. Some of you may have it, some not, where we're at with that, and then our direction of kind of the new interface and where we're going with that. It's a very rapidly changing and pretty exciting product as it is. As you all know, who have been following it, we've got a web agent for Outlook. So now you can move and copy emails from your Outlook client without having Worldox installed. It'll communicate through your web portal, which is really nice. The new web release 3.1, I believe, has some of this Teams integration built in. We've added Citrix share file to the new web 3.1. And so we're continually adding relevant integrations and products to the web product like we have in Worldox here. So that's my summary pitch for today. You guys have a fantastic week, okay?
Thank you, Ray, for sharing all the details about the new Microsoft Teams integration with Worldox. We are going to post a recording of this webinar, so those unable to attend today will still have a chance to see it. And for all of you who were able to join us today, thank you. And if you have any additional questions that we did not answer, please send us an email, sales@worldox.com, and we'll get back to you with any additional information that you might need. And also a quick reminder, we do have our regular Worldox Technology webinar series scheduled for Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And we hope you will be able to join us for those sessions as well. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.